Hey, Freddy with CJ's. No, your eyes aren't fooling you. This is actually a beautiful 65 C10. And as you know, CJ's has really been expanding our truck market, and we're getting in one of my favorite categories, the classic Chevy truck. And although this truck is beautiful, it still has the factory interior. So I brought Waylon from TMI. What are we going to be doing this today?
Today, we're going to be taking out that factory interior. It still looks good, still in great shape, but with a matter of just a couple bolts, we can be upgrading that to our Sport R buckets, console, and door panel that I brought with me. This Sport R series basically has a contrast stitch around the perimeter. It comes in a multitude of colors, and it has that suede insert you see there in the bolster. Now these buckets come out of the box just like you see them, completely ready to install. You just mount the sliders and the bracket into the truck and you're ready to go. No hog rings, no listing channels, no frustration trying to pull vinyl over foam. Out of the box, they're ready to go. Hour down the road, you've swapped out your interior. The center is our Waterfall Console. Again, that fits right between the buckets. You can see it has the contrast stitch and the suede accents on the side. I also brought with me a set of Sport R door panels that match the seat upholstery. And you may notice these dimples across the top. What's nice about everything I'm bringing today is it utilizes all the factory attachment points. So right here is where we're going to put those factory screws that are inset right now on the factory door panels. Same thing with the seats. They utilize all the same attachment points as the factory bench.
All right, this stuff looks awesome. Let's get to the installation.
Let's do it.
All right, Waylon, so where do you want to start on this thing?
I'll tell you what, I'll take the bench, you take the door panels.
Fair enough.
You just want to remove this factory hardware. We're going to be reusing that, so make sure you hold on to it.
Before we remove the door panel, we have to remove the window crank and the door handle. There's a set screw on each one that you have to remove with a flathead screwdriver. Once you remove all the handles, you can remove all the screws from the perimeter of the door panel. Once you get all the screws out, you can remove the door panel. All right, so we got both door panels off. What are we gonna do now?
Let's get that bench out of there.
Sounds good.
I'll get it on this end. Now that the original bench is removed, the next step is installing all the sliders and brackets on the new seats to get them in the truck. First thing you wanna do is flip that bucket over and take out your sliders. Now, right now, the holes that we're gonna need to attach on the bottom of the seat are blocked. So if you wanna release the teeth right there, Freddie, help me slide that down. So you can see that first hole right there. You're gonna go ahead and just attach the hardware to the bottom of the seat.
And the hardware comes with the seats, right?
Correct, yeah, all hardware, including the Allen wrench, comes in a little bag in the kit. Just go ahead and repeat the process, release the teeth and slide the track up to reach the second attachment point on the bottom. There you go. All right, once you get this side of the slider installed, you wanna take this connecting rod right here, going through this hole, and I suggest putting it on this slider before you install the slider. Makes it a little easier on the install. Slide it down. There you go. Now your handle is functional, so go ahead and release those teeth again. Slide the track up. Go ahead and slide the track up until you can see that hole come through right there. And install your attachment. You're going to want to wait until you get both those bolts in loosely before you tighten them down. So that one's in good and tight, and now we can go back to the first one we did now that this is working. Once you get the last one installed, go back and tighten down the first one we did. Make sure everything's nice and good and tight. Once you've got all your bolts tight, you're going to want to go ahead and disengage the teeth and make sure the sliders are level. There we go. Now we're all ready to install this on the bracket. We're going to go ahead and repeat this process on the other bucket. All right, once you get both of your sliders in place, you're going to install the bracket. But before you do that, you want to make sure that your adjustment handles right here for the recline mechanism are on the outside. You don't want those facing on the inside. Not going to work when we install the console later on. So grab your powder coated bracket. Now on this, there's two sides to this. There's a lower end and a raised end. Obviously you want the raised end at the front of the buckets. So line that up. How you looking over there, Freddie? Good?
I'm good, all on.
All right, now again, in the packet, this slide hardware, we do have the nuts for this. I'm gonna install 4 on each side. With the bracket installed, next step is just to slide this bad boy into the cab and get it bolted down to the floor.
Let's get to it.
Once you get those bolts lined up, you're just gonna tighten them down to the frame.
Once you get the seats in, you can tighten all your hardware.
Once you have the bracket bolted down to the floor, the next step is to install the center console. So you're gonna take this, slide it into place between the two buckets and pop out these center cup holders. You're gonna reach in there kind of in the dark. You're gonna find a Velcro strap, simple yet effective. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take this Velcro strap and Velcro it down to the bracket good and tight. Once that's done, cups holders back in, and you're ready to go. The only thing you're gonna need to do to prep the door panels for installation is grab an awl or any small sharp object, and you're gonna wanna feel through here, through the panel, and find out where this is punctured, and then simply just press through. You're gonna have to put that screw right through there. That's all you're gonna have to do. Do that all the way around and repeat for the other door panel. To install these door panels, you're just going to reutilize the original hardware. I find it's easier to go ahead and kind of start it off through the hole we punch with the awl. Get it started, lined up, and screwed in. Don't worry about the handles for the door or the window. We'll get to those after all the screws are installed. One thing I do want to point out why we're doing this, since you're going to be reusing your original hardware, the owner of this truck has since changed his out. Originally, this had a stainless steel flange around it, gave it a little bit more of a finished edge, and encompassed a little bit more of this panel area right here, or the recessed area. Now would be the time if you wanted to change this out, upgrade it, maybe use a black screw to blend in. That'd be up to you. Now would be the time to do it though. With the door panel screwed in, next step is to install your handles. It's a little tricky, a little scary. You actually have to cut the panel, but it's simple enough. What you're gonna do is feel through till you can find the attachment points on both sides, and you're gonna wanna make a small incision. You're gonna turn into a surgeon for a minute. Small X, and you're gonna poke that handle through. So again, right there, I can feel where the crank side is. You can see it. I suggest a sharp razor blade. 1X, and the other side. Once X through, if you cut all the way through, you should be able to just pop it through. Handle goes in, tighten down your set screw, and you're good to go. What do you think, Freddie? I told you we'd be done by lunch.
Honestly, I'm super impressed. It installed super easy, everything lined up great, and you're right, it installed super quick. I'm very impressed.
It's basically a swap. You're going to use your factory hardware, so you're basically just replacing everything you've got, but the end result is a massive upgrade in not only comfort, but obviously style.
Yeah, it really does look amazing.
Well, thanks. One thing I did want to point out is we do offer a bench option for these trucks as well, both in a 55 and a 60-inch bench to fit the early model trucks as well as the late model. These buckets, matter of fact, will fit all the way from 60 to 1987. The only thing that changes, the bracket and the console are a little bit different, and of course door panels are different per year. We also do dashes. This one obviously didn't come with a factory dash, but when you get up into the years that do, we supply a dash that matches this interior as well.
Awesome. This TMI interior, along with other TMI products for your classic Chevy truck, can be found at cjponyparts.com.